What's up, party people? It's KF Lawless. Welcome back to another series from the DPP Revival Ubers Open. Today we've got an exciting series between Remnonc and Byronthewellwell. This is looking to be a very fun game. Both players have custom avatars, so you know what that means, that they're very good. I think that's kind of how it goes here in the Showdown world. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, so Byron leading off with Deoxys and Fortress coming out on Rem's side. Pretty common lead matchup, I would say. Everyone wants to get their hazards up, you know, kind of priority number one. Deoxys going for a taunt and then switching out, maybe indicating that it's probably Scarf. It could be. Or maybe just not wanting to get rapid spun on. Kyogre is going to whiff a Hydro Pump, but then get exploded on. So I guess you were able to get rid of the Fortress one way or the other, and that actually might be very good because, you know, no hazards to worry about at this time. Typically, I think Fortress will run Spikes and Toxic Spikes and have Rock kind of left for another Mon on the team. Ho coming in, setting up a substitute, and with the rain being up, it does kind of hamper the damage from the Sacred Fires. Taking the opportunity to go ahead and recover up some HP, just so that they're at full when the next Mon comes in. But a full set of hazards on the field for Remnonc, and unless they're playing, you know, I don't know, Ubers Superman, I don't know if that's a thing, those spikes are going to do a lot of damage to anything grounded that switches in. And then Ho-Oh, of course, being times 4 weak to the rocks, it's not going to appreciate that. Speaking of not appreciating that, that is the second Hydro Pump that Byron has missed this game. The first one didn't matter, but this one definitely bites, because the Ho-Oh is probably not going to appreciate a rain boosted Hydro Pump, and the Stone Edge misses as well. Byron is truly having one of the days. Man, like, how do you even like respond when something like this happens? You're just like, oh man, my bad. Really. Anyway, Giratina comes in. Although the sand being up does make it kind of hard for it to last. Tyranitar coming back in. Maybe this was choice, and that's why he kind of wanted to rotate it, go for a more accurate move. And speaking of accuracy, Ho-Oh now whiffing 2 Sacred Fires at once. And Tyranitar happy to go for the crunch now, making sure it's just getting consistent damage on the Ho-Oh instead of trying to, you know, take it out in one shot, which makes sense when it has the substitute up. But now Ho-Oh can go for a recover. And I think this crunch... Oh, shit. A critical hit does 88%. That's going to take it out in one shot. So kind of a really, you know, casino of a game we got going on right here. Groudon going for a Dragon Claw into the Tyranitar, maybe expecting a Giratina to switch in, but Tyranitar is happy to stand his ground and just kind of take the hits as it can. Very brave Dragon Claw coming out from Rem, but they are in like the Pokemon lead. I don't think they need to be as worried. They can play a little bit safer, go for the mid-ground Dragon Claw play. It's still doing a decent amount of damage to Tyranitar, so that does make a little bit of sense. Mewtwo coming in, depending on what set this is, this might be able to start cleaning up, and if Byron's last isn't something that can really handle this comfortably, it might be a wrap, depending on what kind of attacking coverage it's running. If it does have Aura Sphere, this Tyranitar is likely cooked at 77%, even with the Sand defense boost. Oh! I stand corrected, and Tyranitar is going to take a bite out of this Mewtwo, and all of a sudden, things are looking kind of dire for Rem. Dialga coming in, those spikes really putting in the work. We see that most of the team on Rem's side has been grounded so far. Earth Power coming out, wow! And that's going to do a lot to Giratina. I'm sorry, not Giratina, Jirachi. Who does go for the Healing Wish into Tyranitar. Okay, this Tyranitar really putting the team on its back. But the Gen 4 Healing Wish mechanics mean that the other team's Mon does still get this attack if the Healing Wish goes out first. Superpower is going to take out Dialga, and now the final Mon on Rem's side, can it deal with both Tyranitar and Giratina? It's a Giratina of their own. Draco Meteor coming out on Byron's Tina. Bit of Sand Chip coming out. The question is, what do you hit this Tyranitar with? You have Earthquake? You have the Earthquake, and that is going to be just enough to take out the Tyranitar. Very good game. A lot of, you know, hacks going back and forth. I would say Byron kind of got the short end of the stick on that one, but matter of opinion, I guess. There were 2 with Sacred Fires, but who can say, right? Anyway, on to the next one. Let's go ahead and play once more. Lead Kyogre coming on Rem's side, and on Byron's side, lead Darkrai. Okay, so if the Darkrai is Scarf, which I think a lot of them are in the lead slot, it can put this to sleep. But if he's switching out, it likely indicates that it's not Scarf. Unfortunately, Latios is going to take 50% from that water spout. Maybe a Specs Kyogre if it's not staying in to go for another one. If it was Scarf, you would be able to outspeed the Latias. But Dialga coming in expecting to, you know, handle this Latias somewhat. A decent switch in can usually take one Draco, and then after the -2, you can kind of, you know, figure out what you're going to do from there. Kyogre coming back in as Groudon sets up rocks, and now if this is, like I said, a Specs Water Spout, this is going to do some damage to something. Groudon going for a Smart Protect. Interesting, scouting out the Ice Beam instead, trying to predict the Latias switch in. And if this is Specs damage, and I'm sorry, I don't have a calc running right now, then yeah, that would be a lot to both Groudon or Latias. But Fortress is able to switch in pretty comfortably. Maybe go for a Rapid Spin or set up some Toxic Spikes. You never really know. Tries to go for the Rapid Spin, although the inevitable Giratina does come in to block that. And from here, okay, Protect on Fortress. And it looks like Fortress is kind of just stalling for some leftovers, scouting the set on the Giratina. Nice blocking the Thunder. I think in Gen 3, if the rain was up, didn't Thunder have like a chance to break through Protect? Like, I think that I'm not hallucinating that, right? Like, there was actually, I think it was a glitch, but some mechanic where Thunder could go through Protect in Generation 3 if the rain was up, which I think is awesome, actually. I think it's kind of a cool little mechanic, even if it was probably unintentional. But we did see that this Groudon does have Protect, and yeah, if you know or you're suspecting a Scarf Kyogre, you're really not motivated to do anything but Protect here. You see what's happening. You got the toxic damage racking up on Kyogre. Protect on Groudon, really putting in some work here. Latias is going to come in. It is going to take 30% from the Surf. Still a good amount of damage, all things considered, with the Soldew defense boost. But it is rain boosted Specs from the King of the Seas. It's going to do a grip no matter what. But Latias doesn't really mind. The Recover is going to go off without a hitch. And then Jirachi is going to come in to threaten a super effective U-turn. Absorb a Draco, things Jirachi does pretty consistently. But the U-turn into the Dialga does outspeed the Latias, kind of indicating that it might be Scarfed. So maybe a faster set, not necessarily a bulky Rachi designed to take multiple Dracos. But the Groudon coming in on the Dialga, pretty safe switch in, and I think we can assume the last move here going to be Earthquake on Groudon's side. So kind of the set that blanks into Skarmory, but you can hit most other things pretty consistently. Earthquake coming out as Giratina switches in to dodge that. And I feel like Byron here is motivated to go for a Toxic on the Giratina. Yep, okay, but that is going to get blocked by Fortress, who does get revealed. And Fortress can handle an Earthquake or two pretty comfortably. It's going to take a couple hits to take this out. And Fortress is going to get up some Toxic Spikes. So from what we've seen on Byron's team, the Darkrai and the Groudon are susceptible to Toxic Spikes. But Latias, of course, floats above, and then Fortress is immune to Toxic and has the option to Rapid Spin. Crit coming out from Groudon, and based on the rolls that we see here, that crit does actually matter a little bit because, I think you were doing up 34-35% with each Earthquake there. So a little bit of good luck for Byron in this game, kind of making up for the karma from last game. But Groudon once again going to go ahead and block the Surf coming from Kyogre. With the Protect, bringing in Latias, very safe option. Just absorb a Surf, take 30%. Crit probably won't kill at this range. And you outspeed, so you can just go for the Recover. Really no risk to doing this. Jirachi coming in, losing another 6% to Chip from the Stealth Rocks. And yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable that Jirachi goes for another U-turn here. So honestly, Byron might just stay in and go for another Recover just to get back to full health. And Kabutops coming in. Okay, interesting. Now, Kabutops being kind of the win condition implies that if you bring in Groudon right here, you can get the rain away. And Kyogre being so low on health from the Toxic is probably not going to enjoy, another Groudon Protect stall. But Dialga actually does come in, so he's not going for the Kabutops sweep at this point. I guess it is a little bit ambitious. Roar from Dialga. Okay, good move. Latias trying to set up the Calm Minds. And Darkrai coming in, getting poisoned, putting the Toxic Spikes to work before Byron even has the chance to try and Rapid Spin. Although we know that the Giratina in the back does make that difficult. Okay, Trick coming out, giving the Dialga a Choice Scarf, and taking the leftovers. Not going to be enough to save you from the poison damage here. Poison does out-damage the leftovers, I believe. What is poison, like 12% or something? And like leftovers is like 6%? Something like that, right? Yeah. Fortress coming in, of course, Giratina already revealed, you know you probably can't get away with spinning. But he's going to set up the spikes, knowing that the opposing fortress is down. And I don't expect that you would be running Kabutops with Rapid Spin in Ubers, especially if you're already running Fortress. So going in for the Protect, just to stall a little bit of PP on the Thunder, if that matters. And then also, yeah, get some leftovers health back. And Giratina also packing the Roar, very interesting. I actually really like that. Kind of a Roar cycling to get the Mons chipped off the hazard damage here. Giratina, of course, no leftovers thanks to the fact that it has to hold the Grisius Orb. But he's kind of chilling, you know, he's doing his thing. He can't really reliably go for Thunders anymore now that the sun is up, and the 50% accuracy on Thunder is not really you know, a smart thing to go for. Unfortunately, Payback is going to do a good amount of damage to this Giratina, getting that boost from going second. And what's the move? Going to bring in Kabutops on the Protect as he stalls for leftovers. Yep. And then from here, I think a Stone Edge should be able to do the trick on Fortress, but they can go for another Protect here. Oh, okay. Maybe went for an Explosion, trying to prevent a Swords Dance from the Kabutops. Although the rain is not up, so Kabutops really wouldn't be feeling, how should I say, good about going for a sweep at this point. I would have gone for the Protect with the Fortress if it was me, but, you know, I'm here in the chair narrating this. I'm not the one who actually has to play. So, yeah, but really good back and forth game we've got right now. Latias getting a good amount of chip on this supposedly Scarf Rachi, or I guess confirmed to be Scarf because it keeps outrunning Latias. And as the Stealth Rock wears it down little by little, and the Spike now that it's up, it is going to be harder for it to come in more than 3 or 4 times. Sun boosted Fire Blast. I almost said Rain boosted Fire Blast. Sun boosted Fire Blast from Dialga is going to do a lot of damage. And the more offensive Dialga set on Byron's side is going to do the trick, get the 2-hit KO on Dialga. And now it's 4 against 4, although Rem's team has already taken a lot of chip all around thanks to all the hazards and the switching and the toxic, and it's kind of been death by 1,000 cuts from Byron's side. And speaking of death, the Stone Edge from Kabutops is just going to do a ton of damage to Mewtwo. I think he brought in Mewtwo kind of expecting the low kick to come out. And honestly, it's a lot closer than I thought, because now that Mewtwo has been taken out, Byron needs to keep Groudon alive to be able to prevent the rain from staying up. Because if that happens, then Kabutops comes in and might have the ability to kind of run away with this. I'm not sure if it's a banded set. My damage calcs, you know, my mental math is not really there. So it's hard for me to say. But it could be, you know, a banded set or a flexible set, and if it's flexible, it can hit pretty much everything on Byron's team for a good amount of damage. Dialga, of course, going through the humiliation ritual of getting flinched multiple times by a Scarf Jirachi with the resisted Iron Head, does survive the third one and gets flinched again. So unfortunately, Dialga is cooked, and now things are looking quite bad for Byron, if I'm being completely honest. You know, even Latias will get outsped due to this thing being scarfed. Groudon being the choice of Mon to bring in. Man, you know, the Iron Head's still going to do a decent amount of damage. Groudon has a lot of defense, but it is neutral. But he's able to break through the 60% flinch chance and get an Earthquake. And now I think you bring in Kyogre if you're Rem. Right? Will it just die to the hazards? How much health is Kyogre even on? Oh, no, yeah, no, it's cooked. Okay, yeah, never mind. Okay, so I was kind of exaggerating a little bit, or I guess catastrophizing. Because Kyogre was so low that the hazards were going to take it out, and now Kabutops, even if you were able to take out this Groudon with a crit, Latias is still sitting at 88% HP, Dragon Pulse would easily do the final 10% there, and a very, very good game. A lot of back and forth, good example of how important it is to manage your hazards and access to, you know, your opponent's hazards in DPP Ubers. So, we are going to a Game 3, and yeah, the game begins with another Fortress lead on Rem's side. Seems to really like the Fortress. I think they've brought it to every game so far. And then Groudon lead on Byron's side. It is packing the Fire move, but it's not enough to kill. But he does get the Fire Punch burn, which is kind of like, I don't know, I feel like you were probably going to get killed one way or another the next turn. But that, if it was a Custap set, actually, that might have been a really big deal, that burn. But Giratina coming in to drop a Draco on the Groudon as it sets up Stealth Rocks, really not afraid of anything that Giratina can do in one move. And now in a very comfortable position thanks to its very high physical defense and then the special attack being dropped on Giratina. Speaking of Fortress, man, Fortress really, you know, living his best life these days. I think that something happened and like the Fortress Discord is just like popping off right now because so many Fortress in these DPP Ubers games. I think, did both players bring Fortress every single game? I don't really know. Heatran coming in, not bothered by the toxic spikes, gonna absorb a hidden power fire with the flash fire, scouting for Earthquake here, and it does not seem to be available. So that Draco is going to thud, dropping the PP. You know, that does only have 8 shots, so that is actually significant protect stall. And now Groudon coming in on another Draco. Maybe he predicted something and made a risky switch to Groudon, but got kind of saved by the bell. As it does drop to another Draco Meteor. I kind of feel like he should have just kept in Heatran. I don't even know what set this is running. Like, maybe Magma Storm, because it's got like the Protect on it. Or Fire Spin if you don't like Magma Storm's weird accuracy. And there's tons of ways you can do these things, right? Uh-oh. What happened? My... Oh, dang it. Okay, 1 second. Recording problems. There you go. Okay, let me just go back a few turns. Sorry about that. Embarrassing mishap on the OBS. Okay, so yeah, where were we? Yeah, Groudon gets murked by a Draco Meteor once again. And then Dialga is going to come in on the -2 Giratina. Very comfortable position to be in. You can kind of just go for a Draco of your own. Nothing really enjoys taking a Draco from a Dialga. Depending on, you know, what item it is, this could do a lot. Does good 50% to the Dialga, which does reveal leftovers, so a bit of a bulkier set. I'm a fan of bulky Dialga. I think it's a very well respected mon. Earth Power coming out, and the reveal of the Earth Power on Dialga means that, you know, some of the mons on Byron's side are not going to enjoy sticking around there. Heatran, of course. Fortress does take decent damage from that. Dialga, of course, will take super effective damage from that. But then the Latias comes in as the Stealth Rocks get set up, and a Draco Meteor critical hit. Oh my goodness, yeah, I think that probably mattered. You know, a bulky leftovers Dialga probably can't one-hit KO a Latias with a Draco. You know, especially after a Calm Mind. Unfortunately, you know, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Giratina coming back in, floating above the Toxic Spikes. Good prediction from Byron. Maybe feeling a bit of the pressure. He has to make some riskier plays now, going for that payback instead of trying to attempt the Rapid Spin. Heatran coming back in. Okay, so Rem keeping the Earthquake in their back pocket for what feels like an eternity to just surprise the Heatran on like the switch in. Wow, that's really something else. Because, you know, they could have even waited after the Heatran came in, and if they try to go for like a Protect again, they could have bluffed not having it. But they really just put the cards on the table and said, no, I'm Earthquaking right now. And, you know, instead of, because they showed the Hidden Power Fire, and of course the Fortress doesn't want to stick around for that. Oh my god, excellent play. Really amazing play by Rem right there. Earthquake from Groudon getting a crit on this Dialga. I don't know if that mattered. It does seem like a very offensive Dialga set. Running Draco and Dragon Pulse probably means it's Scarf, and Groudon is strong enough that a Stab Earthquake will probably do the trick no matter what. Fortress is going to, you know, attempt to go for the Rapid Spin. No idea what the last mon on Byron's side is. Honestly, he must be really banking on whatever is in here to do the trick, and he did not want it getting poisoned, which obviously this is a really bad situation. You're taking rocks damage, you're taking maybe not. Hold on a second. Oh, no, but yeah, Drake. Unfortunately, you know, getting kind of mobbed by your bigger, scarier, floating older brother. I feel like Giratina Altered doesn't typically run Shadow Sneak. I don't really know. We didn't get to see anything on this set, but if he had gone for the payback with Fortress, and I think we saw earlier when the payback hit the Fortress, or excuse me, when the payback hit Giratina did about 28%, might have brought it in range to where if this Giratina Altered was running the Shadow Sneak, it might have been able to pick it off. And then, you know, I mean, the wall usually runs Rest, so the Toxic Spikes might not have been, you know, the end of the story. But either way, great series between these two players. I really had a lot of fun watching it. Very, very fun. I think we saw Fortress on both sides. Okay, so yeah, Game 2, Byron didn't bring a Fortress. But Game 1, they both brought Fortress. Game 2, Rem brought Fortress. Man, Fortress really just having a great time today. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the DPP Ubers Open so far. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the DPP Revival channel. And if you have the capacity, please feel free to donate to the prize pool to keep all of our players motivated to continue playing this awesome tier. So I've been KF Lawless. Thank you all for listening to me rant and ramble. And yeah, have a good night. Bye-bye.